braid should I be buying? What size fluorocarbon should I be using? This one I love. What size reel should I be getting? Especially for someone new to soft baiting, they don't know a lot of these questions. What's the best reel? Well, I'm not going to answer the one about the best reel, but what I'm going to say is a lot of people will answer that question by the drag rating of the reel, the maximum drag rating. It means nothing. Like a drag rating on a reel of 9 or 10 kgs, when you're lure fishing, you're not even going to use that. You're going to be maximum setting your line at about 2 kgs, so drag rating is not an important consideration when it comes to selecting a reel. What is important is smoothness of drag. Kia ora guys, welcome to my man cave. Here's a question for you. A little 3/8 jig head and a 4-inch paddle tail compared to a 1-ounce jig head and a 7-inch soft bait. Which one sinks the quickest? Well, I know straight away a lot of you guys are going to say this one here, the 1 ounce, is going to sink the quickest. Well, what people don't often take into consideration when they're making the assumptions is the balance of the setup that's being used. And I'm just going to take you through that and show you a few of my rods to give you an idea what I mean. Balance is more important. This is the first rod that I'm going to introduce to you. This is my lightweight setup. It's a 3 to 5 kg rod, and it's designed for casting 4 to 14 gram lures. So at the maximum rating, you're casting a lure that's 1/2 ounce. You're going to use a 2500 reel. You're going to be using braid that's rated around 10 pound to 15 pound max. Your fluorocarbon for the setup is going to be around that 15 to 20 pound fluorocarbon. You're going to be casting, obviously, as I said before, smaller lures, little micro lures and smaller jig heads. That's what the rod's designed for. This rod is definitely not suitable for casting 10-inch soft baits with 1.5 ounce jig heads. Anything like that, when you're going over your rating, you're going to kill this rod in no time at all. It's not designed for it. So this is my heavy setup. Ideally, you're going to be putting a 4000 size reel on this rod, 8 to 12 kg rod. The breaking strain of the line is going to be around in the middle of that, so you're going to be using 20 to 25 pound braid, matching it with around 30 pound fluorocarbon. So this is designed for the bigger fish and the deeper water applications where you're trying to get down quickly. So for the bulk of the work, this rod's going to be using a 1 ounce jig head, and I'll often be using a 7-inch soft bait on this. And even in 3 meters in the shallows, I'm still happy to cast out with this because it's in balance and you're working the lure quickly. At the top end, this rod can handle the 10-inch soft baits, 1.5 ounce jig heads. So not many rods can handle that. A lot of the other rods that you're going to use, they'll get smashed pretty quick if you're chucking this type of lure out all day. Now this is my main setup that you often see me using. It's a 3000 size reel on a 6 to 10 kg rod. And for soft baiting off a kayak, a 6 to 10 kg rod is absolutely perfect. There's a lot of power in the butt section. It allows you to move the rod around the front of the kayak to follow the fish. So this rod is designed for casting 10 to 30 gram lures. At the top end, you're casting a 1 ounce with a 7-inch soft bait, but it can also go right down to around that 3/8, but more often than not I'm using a 5/8 with a 4-inch paddle tail. So if your budget only allows you to buy one rod and you're only going to use one rod, that's what I'd go for, 6 to 10 kg rod. Allows you to cast that wide range of soft baits. 3000 size reel, 15 pound braid, but you could go to 20 pound. But for me, 15 pounds pretty much what I've always been running for about the last 6 years on a rod this size. And fluorocarbon, I'm using around that 25 pound or 30 pound fluorocarbon. Right, I'm just going to move on to a couple of my jigging rods that you see me use in the vids. This first one's got the Shimano Tranx reel on it. And this rod has got a PE rating of 1 to 2. What that means is basically this rod is suitable for using line weights of 10 to 20 pounds. So for each PE rating, you times it by 10 and it will give you indication of what the rod's best suitable for. This is a lighter application jigging rod. I use it a lot for the sliders, the lighter weight ones, and it's set up, I think it's set up with 18 pound. This rod here is my second jigging rod. It's a new reel. You haven't seen me using this one yet. This rod I've used quite a lot in the past in vids. It's got a PE rating of 2 to 4. In this case, I've matched it with 30 pound. So this is a heavier application jigging rod. So the heavier jigging rod I use for towing these bigger bib lures, and the lighter one, there you go, I use much smaller bib lures. Targeting different species with them, but it's all in balance. The important thing with all your rods is to keep the balance. So in summary, read the instructions on your rod. Use that key information to select the right size reel for your rod, what size braid you're going to put on the reel, and what size fluorocarbon you're going to use to keep the balance in the setup. That key information will also tell you what size jig heads the rod's capable of casting, and you'll be able to match that to the different soft baits. Cheers guys, thanks for watching. If you like what you're seeing, give us a thumbs up, and we'll see you on the next vid. Cheers guys.